Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Chinwag number 245. And let's get the housekeeping in order first of all. As you can see, it is just me on my own. No, Rebecca has not finally come to her senses and left me. Bless her, she is actually currently just taking a bath. She's been feeling a little bit under the weather. She's unfortunately started to get a bit of toothache, something like a bit of ache in her ear. She's feeling just a little bit run down and not feeling so great. So decided to sit out of the, to sit out of the live stream. So I can't blame her for that. She says obviously she's very sorry, and anyone that's disappointed about that, I understand. But there you go. That's such is life. It happens. Hopefully she will be back next week. So I don't know if she's going to pop into the chat or not. I don't know. She probably won't, but there we go. Just to say a few hellos. So this is going to be like a special 30-minute because I thought because it's just me on my own, a full hour is probably going to be too much for most people to handle. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to be realistic about this and be like, yeah, a full hour is probably a little bit much to expect people to stomach. Hence, this is going to be like a little half an hour stream. Hopefully, it won't be too painful for you guys. But thank you, everyone that has popped in and joined in. So I will say a few highs to the chat. Bumcrack Picker was in first. Thank you for popping in, BCP. As always, the mod extraordinaire. Then we've got JR Reselling, who's not able to watch because he's been watching a lot of Cobra Kai. Understandable. Nice to see DB Resells Damien back in the chats. Very good to see you. Thank you for popping in. And Shell has popped in as well. Thank you, Shell, from Shell's World. Appreciate it. Tommy Bernard says contacts are awesome for vision as well. Yes, contact lenses are also great, but I didn't mean those kind of contacts, Tommy. I meant other kinds of contacts, and we will talk about that in a minute. But thank you for popping in, Tommy. Good to see you as well, man. And it's good to see good old what's his name now? His name is completely escaping me. Ronnie, of course, Ronnie. Yeah, Ronnie has popped like made a video, which is really good to see as well. So it's good to see Ronnie back on YouTube, even though chances are he's probably not going to make another video now for a year. So what else? Fix it for reselling. Barry Francis, thank you for popping in. Bold finds James, thank you for popping in. Yeah, you can't handle a full hour of these too much. No, honestly, I don't mean too much, man. I think I'd just be too irritating. I think a half an hour is probably the maximum where we're pushing it. Normally, if Rebecca was here, we'd do the full hour. But like I said, guys, for any of you just joining, Rebecca sends her sincerest apologies because she's unable to make it because a combination of toothache, earache, just general knackeredness. We've been working very hard. She's just feeling a bit rough, and she did just also have to make dinner, as well. So and she's just gone for a little bath, and so she's going to chill out. But thank you everyone for sticking around, nonetheless. All right, let's see what we have got on today's topic. Today's topic is contacts are more important than car boots / charity shops / auctions. Why would I say such a thing? I absolutely love car boots, charity shops, and auctions. I think they're great ways of sourcing stock, as we all know. But there's a couple of things about them that we are also fully aware of, right? So let's start off with, for example, the car boots, which is the favorites. Car boots, there is obviously with all of them, car boots, charity shops, and auctions, there is the element of inconsistency. Now, you can be the best sourcer on the planet, but you cannot control what is going to turn up at those sources. So let's just cover them. Let's cover the pros and cons. The pros are obviously we can all get stock from them, and we can get stock from them very cheaply. So that's the pros, right? Now the cons are you're talking about firstly inconsistency as to what's available. B, it's too much of an even playing field. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that it isn't even playing field. I think car boots, charity shops, and auctions are not even playing fields at all. I think they're very skewed. So, for example, if you go to certain charity shops, or you'll know that people work there that may also be resellers. There may also be people that work there that have family members. In fact, I know of many situations where this happens, where family members or friends will be contacted when something comes in that they recognize that their friend or family member would be interested in. So a lot of stuff happens that makes it an uneven playing field. And obviously, prices are now going up because they're checking what the online items are worth, which is fine. But you're not even getting to see the really good stuff because, like I said, it's probably being siphoned off before it's even hitting the shelves. And the same goes with auctions as well. Auction houses, you can get some really good deal at auction houses. However, again, there's a lot of shady stuff that happens at auction houses. Not all of which I've got time to go into, but some super shady stuff can happen at an auction house. Namely, the bids on the book. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Magically, that book just seems to have bids at opportune moments to help things along, perhaps. Who knows? I'm not naming any specific auction houses, but it happens. It's known to happen, and I don't think any auction house is completely devoid of that kind of shenanigans. So you've got all those kinds of issues. So even though it has those issues, it's still, bearing that in mind, it is still like a super. Those are like almost too fair, because in either of those it's like potluck. You turn up, you go to a car boot, you turn up, you hopefully get some good stuff if you're fast enough around, if you're first at the booth. Same goes with auctions. If you have enough knowledge and you can research lots and you know things that other people might not spot, gives you a little bit of an advantage. But it's still kind of fair. Everyone's bidding. It's like an open market type situation. Same with charity shops. If good stuff goes out onto the rails, it's open season. Everyone can go in and hopefully grab a bargain, and it's just a case of who's there, right place, right time, etc. Now, that could be seen as a good thing if that's how you rely on getting your stock. But the reason why I think contacts are so great and so important is because it takes away all of that. It takes away all of that, and it's unfair. And as much as I am a lovely person, I'm a very nice person, as I'm sure you all can attest to. I'm just a great guy, aren't I? Really, in general, don't take that clip out of context or anything. But I don't want it to be super fair. When it comes to obviously being able to source for your business, source for your inventory, having an advantage is something we should all be striving for, and contacts give you that advantage. This week, all the stock I've sourced, the majority of it has come from knowing people, or just like, one of them was obviously a deal we got because of the shop where someone approached us, but it was an unfair deal because it was just me, and it was just us and the seller. No one else got to see that stock wasn't offered up to, it wasn't taken to a car boot where it was just open season and whoever's got the broadest shoulders gets in and gets all the stuff. There was none of that. The car boots didn't even get to see this stock. It didn't go to an auction house. All that stuff. It wasn't just donated. I had free reign over checking out the stock, etc., making a deal. I was happy, the seller was happy, and it was just a great situation. It was just a great little pickup. So one of my deals was that, which was our video game lot. Then we've had another pickup, which is like a bunch of electronics, and again, it's down to contacts. That stuff wasn't on show to the general public. It wasn't available just out there for. It wasn't in any of those three sources. So basically, I say things in a really long-winded way sometimes, don't I? But yeah, the short of it, the pre-seed version is, all the stock I've gotten this week has not been from those three regular sources of stock, from which I have benefited from greatly over the past few years. But thankfully, finally, I feel I'm going to start getting some consistency in getting stock, which is not available just open season to everyone that goes to a charity shop, a car boot, or an auction. And it is so, so important to have that. Just to go into the chat, I've just noticed tonight's topic. Couldn't have said it better for this week, says Vincent Lees. Oh, thank you, Vincent. Tommy says, Time saved is huge. I save 20 plus hours a week sourcing. That is a massively good point, Tommy. Yeah, that is something I didn't really touch on. Yes, the time is a massive difference. When you're out doing those other techniques, auctions are very time intensive because you have to trawl through hundreds and hundreds of lots, and then you have to figure out what's worth bidding on. Get your kind of, note it all down, and then you have to be there, or at least be alert enough. You don't have to sit there waiting for every lot to come through, but it is definitely more time intensive. Same with car boots. You have to car boots are actually time intensive. It depends. It depends in terms of how much stock can you pick up from a single car boot. Car boots can be great efficiency wise, and they can be awful. I have been to car boots where I've easily filled the boot, as people say, and I've been to car boots where I've only picked up a couple of items. So it depends really efficiency wise on those. Charity shops, definite time sink because you have to drive to different towns, and again, because of the potluck nature of it, you can spend a lot of hours on foot looking around, and you may not even get anything in return for that. So yes, time saving is massive. When you've got people approaching you, or you have contacts approaching you, all of that is cut out, and it is so. It's just a great situation. And I think it's all achievable. One thing I want to put out there is, I think when people talk about things like contacts, or if you guys have watched Lonnie in the past, Lonnie used to refer to his guy, my guy. um there doesn't need to be any there doesn't need to be any kind of like veil of secrecy, or there doesn't need to be anything like a cloud of mystery around having a guy that gets you stock, or a contact or whatever. Anyone can do it. It really is not like, oh, you've got to be, the Jack the Lad super dealer. We've all seen them, giant fat sausage fingers and sovereign rings, and, like gruff voices from smoking 30 a day, making deals and, putting hands around. You don't need to be like that. It's fine. You can just be a regular person, and you can just chill out and still make these deals. These deals will come to you if you just have to learn to communicate more. Oftentimes, for example, Bold finds James in the chat. He's a great example of it. It's just about taking that extra moment. And JR, who's not in the chat now, JR reselling, he's a great proponent of this as well. You can even go to places. You can actually go to the car boot, you can go to the auction, and you can go to the charity shop, but you can make more of it by just learning how to communicate a bit. That was very loud, but thank you, Tracy, for
That's
the.
not his mic, bum crack.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for the $2 super chat, and for pointing out. Oh yeah, because I saw BCP's comment saying his that mic has grown. I have look here is my mic, but Beck's not here, so I'm using the good mic. See what happens? Beck's not here, so I've just scooted the big mic over, so I'm using the big mic, just to give you guys that bit of extra audio quality. So there's mine. So yeah, what I'm saying, thank you for popping in, Tracy, by the way. So you can actually go to these particular places. So you can go to your car booths and charity shops and auction houses, but make something of it, like just communicate a little bit, get that confidence to have a little chat. And it's one of the things, like I said, JR Reselling does it very successfully. I know Ballfinders mentioned it, James in the chat. I know Vincent Lee's in the chat. Lots of you guys do this. Tommy obviously has like a great contact as well, but you don't have to be you don't have to be like, there's no secrecy around it. You don't have to kind of make out that only certain people can do it. You get that kind of mentality where some people are born salespeople and others aren't. Don't buy into any of that stuff. It's just not true. Anyone can be a great salesperson. Anyone can get contacts. It's all about learning the skills. It's just skills. That's all it is. I used to detest when I was in sales. Used to get some salespeople that really wanted to kind of Maybe they wanted to feel better about themselves. Maybe they wanted to elevate their craft. And it is a craft, but it's a learned craft. Selling is a craft, don't get me wrong. Being able to communicate with someone, being able to match their needs is skillful. It really is skillful, and it is an art form. You watch a good salesperson, and it is like, oh, just there's something good about it. However, it's something you can learn. It's got nothing to do with being a born salesperson or anything like that. I don't buy that nonsense. I think it's really negative, and I think it can put some people off. Imagine if you hear that, oh, you can only do it if you've got like a certain X factor or something. I don't think that's right about selling anyway. I think about other things, true. Like if we're talking about some kind of artistic type thing, then maybe there is some truth to, you got to have some kind of an X factor or some kind of a creative spark about you. Because even if you, for example, even if you learn something like drawing, imagine if you just practice, become a great at drawing, you still may never achieve truly amazing art, because you just don't maybe have like some kind of a creative spark, and your work may just look mechanical, perhaps. Who knows? I'm just kind of going a bit off the track there, but I just feel like it's really important to know that these are skills to add. And if you kind of use them, you will suddenly see people approaching you, or you'll see opportunities will open to you. Definitely feel like that. Let's see what other people have said in the chat, guys. If you've got any comments, obviously in the chat to kind of keep things going, that would be much appreciated. I can see quite a few comments have come in. Let's see what else are people saying. Yes, he is great, Shell. Just like to make fun of him at the ocean. Oh, Tommy saying Ronnie debating suicide at the ocean is definitely better than no Ronnie. Tommy, I love those vids. I really do love Ronnie just sat there, just reminiscing and thinking. We need to just get him back on his game, and it's so good to see. He's like he said, he lost 60 pounds. That's amazing. All right. Vincent Lee says, I've been to a few car boots this year where I'm basically the only one buying. Bit strange, but filled the boot. That's really cool, Vincent. But I think what we're kind of more talking about is definitely just using those opportunities to kind of put yourself out there. And you're obviously a dab hand at this. But putting yourself out there and making it known in a comfortable way, not just, oh yeah, I buy stuff, here's my card and that's it. There's a way of doing it. Mr. Sadie, hey, thanks for popping in. Tracy says, I like the mood lighting. You know what, Tracy? You know what this is? I stole Rebecca's she's got this little light ring we got from the car boot. We only paid like £2 or £3 for it. It's one of those little, the ones that people put their phones in and then they do their TikTok dances and stuff. And it's one of those. But Beck uses it so she lights where she's knitting. So completely respectful purpose. And then I've just nicked it for this purpose because she's obviously not using it. Mr. Say says, hello, Z and friends. Business cards or flights can help you find new sourcing opportunities. They can, Mr. Sadie. They really can. But I still feel it's not quite as effective as communicating, because you can communicate quite well through those. Obviously, you can get your point across exactly. And actually, Bold Finds James made a really good, had a really good live stream with a guy called Bo, who put out a similar ad on Facebook, I believe, or something, and he ended up with this crazy huge deal full of new stock, and it was amazing. It was kind of a game changer for him. So definitely flyers and adverts, etc., do work, but I kind of feel like just upskill yourself, get that gift of the gab going, as it were. Just be that little bit more, take that little extra moment, rather than just if you can negotiate the price on a product to resell, then you can definitely talk for that little extra second or two, and maybe get a conversation going where you might find out that the person selling you something has lots more stuff like it or similar stuff like it. It's really interesting. I always find it really fascinating that you can do that and draw out all these opportunities where otherwise there may not be any. Let's see. Vincent Lee says, contacts are the best. I've had the best deals in car parks and pubs. Yeah, you can get some great deals anywhere. Obviously, be as long as you're safe and you're in a comfortable environment for yourself. Then yeah, go for it. I mean, but I was thinking more just going to the car boot, etc. The nights are starting to draw in. You can see the sky darkening behind Z. Yes, Barry, it is definitely happening. We're slowly getting to that thing where just our evenings are definitely shortening, 10 to 8, and it is very dark. It's very cloudy though. It's very cloudy though, Barry. Mr. Sadie's channel is almost at 555 subs. Definitely check out Mr. Sadie. Tommy says, found my connection on total accident. He was a seller at the auction house, was watching me buy all his stuff. He had someone approach me to buy direct. Wow, that is so cool. That is actually quite a cool story. Mr. Sadie says, agree, you have to be personable, but sometimes that business card gives them a little extra confidence that you're not wasting their time. But yes, I agree. Yeah, 100%. I think it's like with anything, it's you've got to have maybe both of those pieces in place. It's kind of like you can't just have, I suppose, in an ideal world, you want to be able to speak to people and then seal that connection with something like a business card. A business card is like a tool, just like your communication skills, isn't it? So if you just hand out a business card, you could literally stand out on your street and hand out business cards, and if you just hand them out silently, a lot of people, if you actually physically do the motion of just handing someone something, their natural reaction in most cases is just to take it from you. So you will hand out hundreds, thousands of business cards if you're on a busy street, but 95% at least are going to go straight into the bin. You're lucky if you get like a 5% out of that. However, if you've actually got the kind of communication side of this down, where you're maybe making a deal with someone for some stuff at the car boot sale, or you're speaking to someone at an auction house, or you're speaking to someone at the charity shop, and you've struck up, you've been able to build rapport. That's the magic word, isn't it? Rapport. I love that word, rapport. That's what you need. If you're able to build up that rapport and create that kind of little mini relationship within that 5 minutes or under that you've met and started speaking to someone, and then you hand them the business card, then that business card is potent and it's like powerful. Then it actually will work. People will use it and keep it. The only business cards I tend to keep are the ones that I remember a story with, almost like, oh, I remember that guy, he told me this is what he does, this is what he's looking for. So for example, at a toy fair I was at, I ended up with a couple of business cards. Some of them just went straight down the pan, because literally one guy, this was a dealer, bear in mind as well. So, this was a fellow dealer. His rationale for giving me his business card was he literally had just come to our stall and picked up one of our business cards. So he picked up one of our business cards and he was like, oh, I've taken one of yours. Here's mine. Now, we didn't ask him to take a business card. Yes, we had them on our table, but we weren't asking people like that to take them. They were there as a tool. So once we'd spoken to someone, we could hand them to them, etc. And he just gave me his without any particular. I didn't. It was unsolicited, and it didn't really make any connection. So I don't know what the hell I did with it. It was gone. Now, on the other hand, I had an interaction with a different dealer who was buying something from me. Again, watch this. So people that do it correctly, you can tell this guy was buying from me. He was buying some kind of he was buying some kind of Star Wars thing. I was just looking to get rid of. I'm not into Star Wars stuff, as you know, or you might not know, but I'm not like super into Star Wars stuff. So he was buying some Star Wars stuff off me. Got talking to me. Found out what I was interested in. And then let me know what he was interested in, and he was like, we often get things. So he did that whole thing of, hey, look, I'm into this stuff that you don't seem to be into, and you seem to be into a lot of the stuff that we get that we're not into. Hey, here's my card. And guess what, I still have his card. I remember that story, and it's on my mind. So if I ever see him at another toy fair, or maybe I'll be able to contact him at some point if I get something that I feel like would be relevant to him. And that is so much more powerful than just handing out a card. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what other people are saying. Shell says, it took me a year to have an honest chat with the jewelry guy at the booth. Now he pops around with his wares and I give him a cider while I peruse. See, Shell, see that, that is that there is it, isn't it? Like there is it. I mean, you've completely made it into that you've made that contact there. That's superb. That's exactly the kind of thing I was kind of talking about. Really interested in in reading stuff like that, because it just makes so much sense to kind of build it. Just why not take it to that next level, you know? Um, Great job then, Shelter. Now you just give them a cider and you get to chill out and sort through what you want. I love it. Barry says, quite often, if someone in the street tries to hand me a flyer in the street, I just say no, thank you, and walk on. Me too, Barry. Me too. However, you will be surprised at how many people don't do that. Out of us as a family, if someone hands Rebecca a leaflet, 99% of the time she's going to take it. Someone hands my girls a leaflet, 99% of the time they're just going to take it. I'm the only one out of us that will say no, thank you. Appreciate it, but no, thank you. So, for example, I don't avoid charity, chuggers as they're affectionately known. I don't know if it's affectionately, but I'm not one of those. People often cross the street if they see someone trying to get people to sign up for their charities on the high street, and you'll see some people will literally cross the street to avoid them. And those guys know that people try to avoid them, so they get in people's faces. And if they can tell that you're uncomfortable, they will see you as an easy sell, because they'll be like, this person's already uncomfortable. I know this sounds horrible, but this is how it works. They will know to look for people that seem a little bit uncomfortable in terms of not knowing how. I will quite happily walk straight towards someone that's got their clipboard, and when they say like, "Do you want to help children?" I'll be like, "No, I'm okay, thanks." I'll just say, straight up, because I don't need to explain myself to some random person on the high street. Do you know what I mean? I just don't need to. So it's just something to bear in mind. Not everyone has the confidence to do that. Just mentioning, just saying. Um, Money Mental has popped in. Good evening, functioning alcoholic here. Boom. Thank you for popping it in. I really do appreciate it. Um, what else? Going back to the fairzy, people will get used to you and deals will definitely follow your way. Yeah, I mean, already again, I actually had a phone call today. Someone that is going to be at the fair was wondering if I was interested in some stuff that he might have. So, but again, that's because you've got to be approachable. You've got to approach people. It really makes a big difference. Um, there needs to be a button on YouTube for reacting to comments. That would be quite a good idea, actually. Will36, thank you for popping in. We've got Money Mental as well. DB Resales. Z, how did you find your suppliers for the store? Did you seek them out, or were they referred? Sorry if you. Well, supplies for the store are quite easy, especially when you're trying to get like certain brands. Some of them I got referred. Some of them was actually through speaking to people on social media. I got some people who actually shared who they recommend. I do also have again a friend that's doing very similar kind of stock, and he's always been super helpful. His name's David. I speak to him quite well, more regular, not as regularly as I used to, but I still regularly enough, but not enough really. So I did get like that kind of advice in that respect, but also some of the stuff is just exclusive in the UK, so it's quite easy to find who the wholesalers are. So yeah, thanks for the question. Fix it reselling. The Monkey Thrifter says good evening. John YLM says hi as well. Just so you know, guys, by the way, I this is only going to be like a half-hour stream, so we're going to be finishing very soon, just to put it out there. Like I said, because you don't want too much of this. It's too much. I'm surprised that you haven't been offered a lot through people who watch you on YouTube, says Vincent. Not necessarily YouTube, but TikTok. I've actually had a good couple of deals from TikTok, believe it or not, and on Facebook and Instagram. Not necessarily on YouTube that I can remember. I may have done, but I don't think so. I think definitely on TikTok though. TikTok is amazing for that. Quite often people will ask if you'd be interested in stuff, and because they know what you're doing, they're already aware in terms of pricing, etc. So yeah, I think that's a really a great way of doing it. Barry says, yeah, I hate chuggers. I always say no thanks. If I want to give to charity, I will. What I won't do is give my bank details to some stranger in the middle of the town centre. Yeah, Barry. I mean, they're just obviously doing their job. But it is a bit of a ruthless job. Whether people want to acknowledge that or not, it is a ruthless job. Those guys are basically looking for people, and they can spot people that are uneasy, awkward, trying to avoid them, and those people are more likely to be pressured, even though technically no salesman pressures people, no good salesman pressures people, but technically they're more likely to be more amenable, I suppose is a way of saying it, to handing over their bank details and signing up for a direct debit. And then what you find in a lot of the times is once you've signed up for a direct debit, you start then getting phone calls asking you to up the amount you're offering on direct debit as well. So yeah, you have to be careful. It's the dancing on TikTok that bring people in. Z probably Barry. David Moore says sold the Saturn yet? Not yet, David. It is on sale on the website if you want to check it out though. But yeah, I've not sold it yet, and I've got some games listed as well for it. I'm happy to offer all my backlog through YouTube, says Money Mental. It's a great way of getting stock and selling stock 100%. Just as any other social media platform is good, because you've definitely put a lot of effort on social media. Definitely, Vincent. It's really kind of important to do. I feel like social media stuff it's mind-bendingly important. Stephen Jackson, thank you for popping in, Stephen, as well. Social media, guys, honestly, it's at the point now where, depending on what you're trying to do, it's going to be a bit of a challenge if you don't do social media. I feel, it depends what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you're just happy to sell on eBay or Amazon, etc., then eBay and Amazon are doing the social media for you to an extent. You just have to list your product. You can do their promotions, and bam, you'll get sales. But if you're trying to if you're trying to gain people's confidence, because that's what it is. If you're trying to get someone's confidence and make them confident enough to click on your website and buy from you, then wow, that's a whole different thing. Right, guys, it's gone past 8 o'clock. There's one other thing I want to say before we go. I want to actually, I don't think she's in the chat, but I want to say a massive thank you to Ruth, who is one of our viewers, one of the viewers on the channel. And Ruth was kind enough to pick up a handmade voodoo monster doll plush called Stitches that Rebecca has handmade herself. I did share this in one of our previous videos. We listed him for sale today, and straight away Ruth was on the case. She picked him up, and that's just fantastic. Just to give you an idea, this is the kind of stuff Becca's now getting into doing as well, which is so cool. So we're going to have our own little range of. Beck isn't going to take like pressure on this. She's not going to like make things in massive amounts. Just stuff that she enjoys making. These are all her own designs. She sits there, she makes them, and then we'll put them up for sale. So they'll come up as and when. There's no like specific thing, but this is an idea. This is like an example. This is Blinky. Check this out. This is all Beck's design. Nice and simple. Look at those eyes. Aren't they gorgeous? So Stitches was the other one, and he's gone. Now this one is Blinky, so he's the next one up he's up for sale now as well. So if you do want him, it's only gonna be one of one on the website, but that is something cool that Beck is doing. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Ruth, if you do ever watch this on playback, for your purchase of Stitches. Michelle says, hi, that is really cool. It is cool. Great hair today, says Mr. Sadie. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sadie. Cheers, Z. Say hi to Beck. Hope she has a nice chill evening. Thank you very much, Shell. So yeah, Monkey Thrifter says those handmade dolls are amazing. They really are, Monkey Thrifter. Appreciate you saying that. Right, guys. On that note, I've been here. I love Beck's creative side. Thank you, Tracy. She would love to hear that. Honestly, guys, she's good at this. And these are, like I said, she sits down, makes her little designs, and she's enjoying doing it. And you know what's really good? She's going to finally get through the massive drawers and drawers of wall we've got. So hopefully it's really good on that side as well. But thank you, everybody, for the kind words. Beck hopefully will be feeling much better. We've given her, she's got some peroxide for the old toothache. So yeah, I really do appreciate you guys' kind words, and hopefully she'll be back for next week's live stream. In the meantime, a massive thank you. I'm not sure if Andrew's going to be going live or if he's not already gone live. Obviously, Monumental's website, YouTube channel, check it out. I'm off. Have a great evening. Have a great day at the car boots tomorrow. For those of you